Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. All right. Gonna give it a second here. All right. Okay. We are live and functioning. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a great Friday so far. If you're jumping on live, say hello. We'd love to see your lovely faces. I'm just going to pull this up over here so I have us. Okay, cool. So I can see if there's any questions coming in. All right. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, so we're having a little technical difficulties today. Bear with us. So today I have Karim Pierce with me, the lovely Karim, and I met Karim almost 2 years ago now at the NTA conference, and we were roomies thanks to Jessica Bischoff, my co-creator of Holistic Mineral Balancing, and she kind of nudged me to take on a roommate, and I'm a little introverted, and even though you're probably thinking like, how is she introverted? She seems so social. But I wasn't sure. And I was like, Jessica just was like, oh, Karim is amazing. You're going to love her. And so I have her to thank for us connecting. And many of you may know Karim as well. I know she's shown up quite a bit in ways to support our NTA tribe as a group leader, right? And so today we brought her on because we wanted to talk about generosity in your community. And, Karimon's got that pretty down pat, and she's got some thoughts to share with you guys. And we want to talk about why this is important. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lydia. I'm really happy to be here. This is super fun. And I'm always game for reaching out to our NTP community, NTC community. It's been the most amazing tribe that I could have joined, and I'm grateful every day.
Yeah, we have a great tribe for sure. So real quick, while we're still waiting for people to come on, what'd you have for breakfast today?
Oh God, it's gonna make me look like a bad NTP. I had some granola and some almond milk, which is not actually really atypical for me. I typically am like the egg and steamed cookie, but had a lazy morning. So it was some granola this morning, which was really nice. I just went through a recent food sensitivity test, and lo and behold, I cannot have coconut. Which is isn't that the staple of all of our like nutrient dense foods?
And you probably ate a lot of it before, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I built a sensitivity to it, no surprise, and time to rotate that out. So I've been getting creative about other things.
Yeah. Well, so I want to have you talk a little bit about your latest kind of transition. Hi, Nancy. Nancy's joined us.
Hi, Nancy.
Really quick, because I think a lot of people might really resonate with kind of your transformation right now, what you've gone through as an NTP, before we kind of get into more, and hopefully more folks will join us.
Yeah. Well, so it's been a big, exciting time. A lot of faith and trust in the process, but so a little over a year ago, I took on a great job at Natural Grocers. Natural Grocers hires us NTPs or other vetted nutrition schools, and the job is great. You do coaching sessions and classes and all of that, but I hit a point where I gained such an amazing amount of confidence in just being in there, doing it, getting in front of group after group and person after person, that I thought, it's time. It's time to be done with this and do it for myself. And so it was a little bit scary, and also a little bit like there was no other way. I had to make this shift. I trusted my gut, right? Trust your gut, and said, I don't know what's next, but what I need to do is give my 2-week notice and clear the space, and just make space for what needs to come in, and trust that the right things come in. And so that was the scariest part, was to, you know, people are like, well, what are you going to do next? And I'm like, well, I'm a nutritionist and I'm going to do my thing. But that wasn't, you know, for some people that's not concrete enough. But for me, I just said, I know it's all going to fall into place. So gave my 2-week notice, and literally within that 2 weeks, the things that have just poured in have been amazing opportunities. I've gotten really excited about all my own projects, you know, getting back to seeing clients on my own. I've had an opportunity with a local naturopath. They're really hungry to have me in there and support their business. I've gotten some opportunities through our National Association of Nutrition Professionals. I mean, it's just like, there's just a million cool things happening. The best part of it is I know I'm being true to myself, and I'm finally like back to me, you know, back to the passion that I have, following what I want to do. And I'm totally ignited. I mean, you know, I have to give you and Lydia and Nancy credit for, you know, there must have been a little sparkle when I decided to do your jumpstart and jump in there, because it really was the big push that was like, you can do this, get out and just stop, you know, being in this box and feeling trapped, you know, bust open the box and come on out and get back to, you know, really, really doing the work in a bigger way, really like stepping into myself. So it's been, I'm still really, you know, in the buzz of it, but it's been fabulous.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, and I saw you at the conference. I could tell you were like, I need something.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking?
Yeah, kind of gritting my teeth and like, I know I have all this potential, and I got to do something.
Yeah. So for those of you just jumping on, Karim is talking about her recent transition away from natural grocers to branch out on her own as an NTP, which is, you know, super scary, but majorly exciting. And I know this is something that a lot of NTPs I hear and see, you know, fighting the same battle, you know, how do I branch out on my own? So, you know, we brought her on to share today to kind of inspire you guys. And you took the big leap, you know, did you guys read the book, The Big Leap? That's definitely awesome book to read.
I haven't read that one. Maybe I need to.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, we've talked about, you know, the whole concept of leap, and then that will appear, like when you just know that you know that you know in your gut, and you decide to trust it finally. Yes. You have to know that the universe has got you, or that you've just got it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like by trusting, you know, that I just need to step out and I'm ready. Everything started to show up. I mean, talk about manifestation. It's just been like thing after thing, exactly as it should be, showing up perfectly. So it's, you know, it's real stuff. It's real stuff. And it's exciting to feel it and see it happening, and know that the momentum and the ball is rolling.
Yes, I am so excited to be able to like watch this happen. It's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. So, okay. So today we're going to talk about generosity, and you know, Nancy and I have talked a lot about this. Nancy's like an amazing giver, by the way, you guys. And you know, I've seen it, you know, really work in my favor online. Karim is more, see, I'm the introvert, Karim's the extrovert. So she has showed up really well for her community. So we're going to talk today a little bit about how, you know, you're showing up in your community, whether online or in person, and just being generous can really just promote and support your vision and your ultimately your practice, really. Because, you know, people really need to connect with us. It's so important, but they aren't where we are. Like we're like light years ahead of everyone, right? So in terms of the nutrition part, so they need to, you know, feel comfortable and safe around all that we can offer and do for them. So share a little bit about your experience with, you know, being generous and showing up in your local community, especially like through your last year even, you know?
Yeah, one of the amazing things that the gift that I was really given through the process of Natural Grocers was the opportunity for a little while, and then it became clear that I was done with it, but was to sit down the business side of it and know, you know, I was having my bills paid and be able to just give. And so, and what I learned from that was really valuable, and that is being able to get out into the community and just say like, hey, how can I help you? How can I support you? Can I come to your support group and talk? Can I reach out and, I don't know, just in all the ways. There's so many places in our community that are just hungry for a better understanding of their own health and nutrition. And I actually, the model that I learned there is something that I will not stop doing, which is putting yourself out there as a gift to your community, which is, you know, you learn about an Alzheimer's support group. That may not be your target audience, but you get out there and you give a talk to their group and you just, you know, give them some perspective on some of those really basic things that we are like, you know, what is a good fat and a bad fat, or, you know, whatever it is, can change those people's lives. And they are going to then go on and talk to their friends and family and their grandchildren and or whoever, and they're going to find their way back to you. And so this generosity that feels really good actually will not only elevate your business, but get you known out there as well.
I love it. So, you know, and I think too, there's just like a real struggle to know, well, how much is too much to give? Like how do I balance giving and making offers, and, you know, that balance of, you know, how much is too much, you know? And I think that's a real struggle and question that many of us have. But I think, you know, honestly, let's talk about this a little bit. You really get, I don't feel like you can give too much. I think you can in terms of pricing and not, you know, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, you know, like over giving and undercharging. But when you're trying to reach out into the world to make them feel comfortable with you, know you, trust you, like you, believe that you have value to bring to their life, you know, I think that's where the generosity factor can just really kick it up such a huge notch, right?
Absolutely. You know, in this book that I was reading, I can't remember, I've been reading so many different, like, you know, books for inspiration and things like that. But this concept that really struck me was, and this is exactly what you're talking about, is that in giving and receiving aren't, they're exactly two halves of the same whole, right? And so it's a symbiotic thing. So your giving will turn around and be receiving in balance. And so figuring out how much, I think, is really just an individual, you know, comfort zone thing, as far as, you know, when you're looking at your business, you've got to decide, well, I only have this much time every month to, say, give a couple of talks, because then the rest of the time I also need to be serving clients and working on my business and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's sort of just, I'm such a practicalist, so I start to look at the time and try to sort out my time that way. But truly, like the bigger concept of giving and receiving is, it's not that you give and get nothing back. It's that the more you give, the more you receive. It's a universal law. Like, you know, there's this idea that if the universe is an intelligent field, then give it something intelligent to bounce back to you, you know, send out and it's going to come back. So I have found that to be 100% true, that the more that you are willing to be generous, the more that you're that you're going to receive. And so the second half of that is, yeah, we can all be such great givers. We have to be really good at receiving too. We have to say thank you and yes, and not do the, oh, no, it's okay routine. We have to, someone gives you a compliment, you say thank you, and you take it in and you let that person that's giving accept, or let that person that's giving to you feel good about the giving. Don't block them. You receive it, right? That's the balance. And so that happens in all situations. If someone says, oh, I want to pay you double what you're worth, don't say, oh, no, my rates are XYZ. You say, thank you. It's a balance. It's giving and receiving is a balance. So I've really been playing with this idea in my head, and that it's not just one direction out. It comes back. The arrows go both directions.
So good. I love it. So yeah, because like when we're really attached to the outcome of our giving, like when we're showing up and we're like, well, okay, let me try to get them as a client, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Right.
But when we're like so attached to the outcome being that we get them as a client, or that investment of our time, immediately turns back into a client or whatever, we're making it about us. Right. Yeah. In that moment, we're making it about ourselves. And really, it's so cool to me when I can connect with, what, my job, is my passion as well. And I know it is yours too. And many of our colleagues, is just to spread this good information and knowledge and passion to the world. And when we do it in every way that we can, like you said, it's going to come back to us. So maybe the person that you ran into at the health food store who you shared with doesn't ever contact you, but maybe someone overhears and says, can I get your website too? And they're the one that you just never know. And when you're not attached to the outcome, you don't stress, you don't get anxious. You're not making it about you and then thinking like, oh, I suck because I couldn't get that person to be my client. You know what I mean? So I love how you just kind of really made that emphasis about how it just flows back to you in some way.
It does. And many of you may have read the Simon Sinek book or heard his TED talk, about your why, talking about your why. And really, I think this comes back to, you're talking about our passion and that kind of thing. We have to know our why. I mean, my why is, I want to, in the very, very broad sense, I want to give to the world so that we can be a healthier world. That's not my little, what is my target audience sentence, but the bigger picture is I want to give because I feel like there's a lot of need for healing out there. And so when you move in your work from that place, when you're making choices from that place, your why, your big purpose, then you can't go wrong, and then the ripple effects, it's like an ocean, like you said, somebody might have overheard, or that person in the health food store might have, their neighbor, their friend that says, hey, I met this really great woman and it sounds like it's a good fit for you. I mean, that's why I think it's really important to tell people all the time what you do and have your how you help statement down and all of that, because people want to know, like they need to know, right? And they're going to share it. And people are always looking for resources. I consider myself a resource, which is part of why I feel like I can be generous in my community, because I think about myself as a resource. Someone might come to me and I might not be their solution, but I can figure out, well, what do they, who do they need to go see, or where do they need to go, or what's their next step. And in that way, I build a know, like, and trust factor that's very different, right? That's, oh, she's a good resource. If she's not my direct resource, she's going to know who needs to know, who I need to, where I need to go, what I need to do. So,
yeah. Love it. So let's give a couple practical. Okay, so this is really good for the concept of and the inspiration of, and because you've done this a lot over the last year, especially, I'm wondering if you have just a couple practicals. Like, what's your favorite way to show up in your community that you feel has been the most fun, the most accepted, or because I think a lot of people really struggle to actually go out there and do it. Right?
Yeah, we talk about introvert, extrovert, right? I mean, it's you do put yourself out there, but in putting yourself out there, you really begin to realize what you know and gain confidence around that. So that's a big thing. So what would be my favorite? I don't know if I can pick just one, but the first thing that just rose up in my mind was I like to meet kids and families, because I think kids, I like to do talks for them, or, go into the school or that kind of thing, because I really think that kids are sort of like sponges, and they're just trying to figure out the world. And there's so many ways that they can, they're so open for learning. Whereas as we get older, hopefully not, but some people really lock down their specific ideas and it's harder to break through. So kids have been a great inspiration, and they go tell their parents, like, I met this really cool woman, and here's her business card or whatever. I mean, not exactly, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Again, it goes to my bigger why. So yeah, I'm trying to think of some practical tips. Okay. So if you want to get out into your community, you'd be amazed at how many places are really hungry to have you come talk for free. And all you have to do is ask. It could be a small group of people, a big group of people. You can kind of decide where you want. There are support groups. There are schools are always looking for people. What's the other? Or if you have a natural grocers in your town, did you know that you can be a free guest presenter? You just sign up on the website and you can do a talk at all the natural. I mean, we have 4 in Tucson. You could talk at all 4 stores, and they have a following of people that come. And so there's a lot of places that you can get out and just give to your community and make connections to people. I don't know if that's exactly where you were going with all this, but
yeah, great. Yeah, that's great. Like, even just something so simple, like maybe someone would have never thought of that. And I'm gonna add a tip to your tip.
Yeah.
Make sure when you do a live talk, you get people on your email list. Yeah, that's great. Make sure you have an email list and you get them on your emails and you actually use your email list. But that's just an aside for.
Can I share the awesome little turnaround that was super aha for me that Nancy gave me? And this is so simple, but when I spoke at Natural Grocers, we'd always offer actually we asked them to fill out an evaluation form, right? And so I got really used to saying, okay, fill out this evaluation form. I really want to know what you liked, what you didn't like about this talk, what other topics you want. And when I was talking with Nancy, she said, and now when you go to talks that is outside of Natural Grocers, that's how you capture their email address without feeling like, hey, I want your email address. I want to get you on my newsletter. Instead, you ask them for their information, right? This is all give and receive. So you've given, and now you're saying, can you give to me your feedback? And they feel really good about telling you, I didn't like this or I like that or whatever, or rah, rah, they're your cheerleader. And then you say, here, would you like to leave your email address? And, you can build a whole bunch more into that. But basically it's a very, I don't know, it feels very like, for the person who's scared to ask for the email address, this is such an easy way in, because you're asking for their opinion and you're asking, then, can you contact them later? And they're probably really excited about that because they feel like they've made a connection with you. So
yeah,
that was sort of like a little, and again, there's so much more you can do with that survey. But just by the fact that you're asking back, you're saying, okay, I've given you this, can you give me something back? They're really happy to do it.
Yeah. And then you get to be generous with them on your email list.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like you're bugging them. You're giving them value and you're bringing them, away more to their life, and so
they
can't come
connected
see
to what they were already excited about,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's it's just another layer of value, but it also does give you feedback. Like, did they feel like you went too long, too short? It helps you course correct as you go forward to your next talk. So it's kind of a win-win, which is awesome. So yeah, and we were going to also talk a little bit about being generous in our, NTA tribe. as far as that goes, right? Were we going to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So real quick, I just want to say we're going to go for a little bit longer. If anybody's live and you have a question, please feel free to pop it below so we can, get to that in a minute. Say hi and let us know if you have a question. So yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit about, really getting involved also in your NTA tribe, your community, which, Nancy and I have been really working towards fostering that here. And the reason for this is because, none of us can do this alone. We absolutely cannot do this alone. And that the strength in that community is really going to throttle you forward, I would say, just really help to keep you going, get you feedback. So being generous in our community, really, we can learn so much from each other. We can learn from each other. We can encourage each other. We can be inspired by each other. And there's a lot of ways to do this, right? It doesn't just have to be showing up online, although that seems to be a great way since we're spread all over the place, right? But Karim, you have been a group leader.
I have.
You want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, it's a great way to reconnect to the whole, NTP, NTC group of upcoming students, the teachers. I mean, I feel like the ways that I've connected to NTA have benefited me in just growing my own confidence, feeling like I have a community that supports me. And so just like we're talking about, giving and receiving, if you give back to your NTA community, it's going to just come back to you. And so one of the early things I did actually before I was a group leader it was just a fluke, but the NANP conference about 3 or 4 years ago was in Tucson, and they were looking for NTPs in Tucson to sit at the table, at the conference. And so I did, and I got to hang out with Kathy Eason and some other people. And that was really amazing. And I got to talk to prospective students all about, how great the experience was for me. And then do it again as a group leader this last year when when they opened up a new section in Phoenix, and it was the first Phoenix class with John Jennis and Mashabi Mahoney and Christy Banners. What an amazing dream team of teachers that I got to then learn again, be their right-hand assistant as far as making the class go, feeling valuable in that way, because I could just show up and do whatever they needed to make it go, to make the class go, support the students, all of that. And on top of that, I had the opportunity before that class, I guess because they were in my local area, they found me and wanted to know about NTA. And so I was able to tell them about NTA, and they jumped in the class. And now I've gotten to know those students as they've grown into local NTPs. And there really is something about so my kids go to Montessori school, and Montessori does these 3-year blocks of school, right? So they're together with a first, second, and third, they're all together, or fourth, fifth, and sixth, they're all together. And I've watched this process of, the fourth grader coming in and needing mentoring, and the sixth grader now having mastered that class over 3 years and being the mentor. And there's something wonderful about that. Again, it's more of that give and receive. And so I feel like I've been experiencing that. And I know you have too, Lydia, in different ways, being able to be that mentor now that I'm far enough past graduating, to the people that are up and coming. And it's it should just continue. The cycle should continue. We should all see ourselves as mentees and then mentors at all different levels. I mean, one of the reasons that I was very excited to jump on and, do the Jumpstart with you and Lydia was because there's still more to know. Lydia and I actually, not Lydia, you're Lydia, Nancy and I actually graduated together, but she's gone down all different other routes, and there's so much I have to learn from her. And you graduated a few years ahead of me, and I have so much to learn from you. And then I can teach and support the next generation. And so I really think that we have to see ourselves as that kind of community.
Love it.
I know I can ramble on. I have a lot of ideas, but
great.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I love that perspective, because I guess for me, I'm, I have a little different situation. I am a single mother. So, doing something like you've done was never something I could do. And I was intrigued by it, but I'm also a little overwhelmed by it. being the introvert, being like, it's too much people. But
I mean, you reach out in all the ways that are good for you, that work for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So
go up online and offer so much value day in and day out. And it's really, you're reaching out in your way. So you and I provide actually two different, and very valid routes to, to reaching out to both our community and to our tribe. There's no wrong way, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, totally. And, I love that because it's so true. There's definitely a myriad of ways that we all get to show up in the world and make it work for our life, our lifestyle, our family, our personality, like the whole 9 yards. So it's amazing. And I love that you've shown up in your community, and I don't really know how to share that kind of thing with NTPs. So I can share the online experience for sure. So with that, I think that, this was really insightful, and I appreciate you again being generous with your time and just coming on today and sharing with our colleagues. So those of you who are watching, if you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. And do you have any ahas or takeaway thoughts you want to give to everybody before we go?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would just say any of those of you that are out there listening either right now or you're going to listen in the replay, we all have good information to give. So, share your tips and your ideas. I just have what I've experienced and Lydia's had what she's experienced, and we all should be continuing to learn from each other. I mean, if the takeaway for me is just driving home this giving and receiving concept. I mean, that's really what generosity is about. Generosity isn't only about giving, it's also about being able to receive. And if we're going to be NTPs and NTCs and be successful in our business, there's a secret here. And the secret isn't just the generosity that we're giving, it's also being, loving yourself enough to say, I can also receive. So that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah, be generous with yourself too. I love that. So good. Well, thank you again. And that's it for us today, guys. We thank you for stopping by watching. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.